Real fascinating schmooze.
So
I have like 3 cords at my house if anybody wants to come by.
Really?
3 cords, probably
Wow.
full,
That's a
stacked.
lot of wood.
Seasons 1 year.
By the way, you don't want to use fresh cut wood.
No,
No,
you gotta
wet
use.
still.
At
I
least
don't
you
think
get-
I've ever seen a
No,
baby
mine is already
carrier.
seasoned. I have it. I cut it I chopped it up last summer.
I don't think I've ever seen a baby carrier in a shear.
So we have a lot of things in this year you don't see in this year.
Yeah, by the way, the guy's
Say-
sitting
say
under like
hello to my
a
little
red
friend.
tree.
Say hello to my
Yeah,
little
with
friend.
Montezuma behind him.
Yeah.
It's better than having a dog. Aaron's why.
I
Cuter.
agree.
He's cuter.
The dog is better behaved.
That's why
You
people
can't put a
get dogs.
diaper on a dog.
Yossi Katz knows about
I
that one
don't
already.
need to. I don't need to. I open the door and the dog goes out into the backyard and comes back in.
You can train your kid to do that too.
Yeah.
I
I
wish.
know plenty of kids. I know
My
plenty
daughter,
of boys
my
that do
daughter
that.
is so afraid of the potty. She won't go near the potty. She still makes only in the diaper. It's so silly. I don't understand it.
Well, that's what happens when you drop him in one time.
Okay, it looks like Zevi got comfortable. He's gonna hit that bell momentarily.
Yep, we're waiting. We're waiting.
Mm-hmm.
I had a chaver last night say to me, he goes, I completely just got schar for just sitting through a shear, a Daf Yomi shear. I said, I know what you mean, man.
Whoa!
I was
Whoa.
promised by my Maggid shear. I was promised by my Maggid shear that it was going to turn after tonight. That's what he said.
It's going to turn around. Well, he said that?
That's what my Maggid shear said yesterday.
Yes,
So-
it'll turn. Yes, it's going to
So
turn.
if we want, guys, if everybody votes properly, we can just throw Marchuk right off.
Ooh.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
He'll Zoom bomb us.
Marchuk, no comeback. Come on.
Eric,
No.
you do that, and I throw you off, and I start my own thing.
Oh,
Oh.
Aaron.
With Tzviakov as the thing.
Reb Zev, yours would be almost over because the daf would have started 15 minutes ago.
Stop recording. Otherwise,
Okay.
Aaron, so you drinking already?
Incredible.
Okay. So,
Mm.
how's it yesterday?
The wood burned so well, it like almost went through the whole.
Eric, you behave. You don't talk to the elders like that.
That's right.
It's his
Anyways,
birthday. Leave him
okay.
alone. Leave him alone. It's his birthday.
Got a visit today. Nice bottle. Nice bottle.
Oh, that was the shot. It's your birthday?
Yeah, they came by to deliver it.
Jocko, it was nice of you to remember. Bring him a present. Bottom line.
I know his birthday's on Lag Baimer. I don't know from this secular stuff.
Oh.
18th, it's Chai. You got to know. It's May 18th. It's Chai.
Okay, I'll try and remember for next year. Shoot me a reminder, please.
1 second. So what did he get?
I'll
What did he get?
I'll put your
Jocko,
calendar.
what did he get for Lag Baimer then?
From me? I went over there and I got myself some food from him. What do you mean?
Oh, you know.
All right. Okay. Anyways, Dafayim base. So
Can you imagine people actually like to listen to this stuff the next day?
Bro, with that chest hair showing, I would also.
they started 15 minutes in, so. Anyways, sleeping with a Shiv Charufa 5 times, according to the opinion that a carbon asham doesn't require knowledge. I don't expect anybody to have any idea what I'm talking about, including myself with that. Same thing according to the opinion that it does require knowledge. And Rav Divi came over and said 3 things about Shiv Charufa. Then we discussed misasik, which we're going to discuss right now again, which is that when you do something totally unintentional, it's not shaygig, you do something totally unintentional, and it ends up being a chilul Shabbos. Then we had a machlokes abaya and Rava, but we were saying misasik if you plan on cutting something, right? The original case was, and we'll spend time on this because it's a negaya to right now. Just the original case was a person's picking up a piece of grass which he thought was detached, and he ended up being the one to detach it, right? Then the machlokes abaya and Rava is a case where he was trying to cut it, and he ended up cutting it. So there, the machlokes is that when he cut it, he was trying to do some sort of cutting, and he did a chilul Shabbos. Then we said the chumrah of Shabbos over other mitzvahs, And then we had the chumrah of other mitzvos over Shabbos, and then we said other mitzvos referring to avodah zarah, and then and the other mitzvos that are more chumrah is when you're eating chelev and you thought it was fats. Fine. Okay, so Zok Gemara, Itmar, we learned this. Neschaven lizrik shtayim v'zarak arba. If a person had kavana to throw something too, now the din by Shabbos is that in order to carry in Reshus Harabim, to be chayiv, you got to go 4 amas, right? So what? And the same thing with throwing something.
Where are you starting from?
I'm sorry, 2 dots. Ayin Gimel Amud Aleph. About 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
9 lines down, the end of the line. Yeah. So Itmar, we learned this. Chavan Lizrik Shtayim Zara Garba. We're gonna have this case. We'll have this later. You decide you're gonna throw something 2 amas, which is perfectly fine, right? And you throw it, and you ended up throwing it 4 amas, right? So in my front yard minion on Shabbos, I have this issue because there's no eruv. So as long as I stay within 4 amas, I'm fine with the carrying, right? Even though really I don't move at all. But let's say a guy. So the same thing with throwing. So let's say somebody said he's going to throw something 2 amas. The Zorak Arvin ended up going 4 amas, which now he went from doing something that was mutter on Shabbos to ended up being a chil Shabbos. Rava Amar Potter, abaya Amar Chayev. So same machlokes. Rava says he's Potter. He never meant to do anything wrong. Abaya says Chayev because he meant to throw something, just the throwing went a little too far. So that would be called a shoygig. Rava Amar Potter. Rava Amar Potter, Deloika Mechaven, the Zrika Da'arba. Rava says you Potter because you didn't have kavanah to throw it for. Abaya Amar Chayev, Deloika Mechaven, the Zrika Ba'alma. Right? And Abaya says it's Chayev because he had kavanah to throw. So once you have kavanah to throw, and the throw ends up being Chil Shabbos, so that's no longer misasik, in which case you'd be Potter, and therefore it's shoygig, and therefore you're Chayev. Then, so that's case number 1. Case number 2, let's say he thought he's throwing something in Reshus HaYachid, which of course is not a problem, and then he finds out that it was a Reshus HaRabim. Right? So Rava Amar Potter, abaya Mechayev, same machlokes. Rava Amar Potter, the Halei Mechaven Lezrika Deisura. He never had in mind to throw something that was assur. He meant to throw it in Reshus HaYachid. Abaya Amar Chayev, the Hakam Mechaven Lezrika Ba'alma. Abaya says Chayev because you did have kavanah to throw it. So if you had kavanah to throw it, and it went awry. So therefore, that's not misasik. That's called shoygig and Chayev. Fine. But tzricha. So why do we need 3 cases? Again, the cutting of the grass, throwing 2 amas that went 4 amas, and throwing in Reshus HaYachid that went Reshus HaRabim. Those are 3 different cases. Why do we need all 3? The tzricha diyash mina kamaisa. We would just say the first case Bahu Kamar Rava. That's where Rava says that you're Potter. You didn't have in mind to cut something that was also. You had in mind to cut a piece of grass that was mutter because it was detached from the ground. I want to. But if you had kavanah to throw it 2 and it went 4, the arba b'lei tarti like mizrukale, because you can't possibly throw something 4 amas without it going 2 amas, right? You can't get to 4 unless it passes through 2, right? That's basic math. Yeah. So ema ma'ida le'lavaya. So maybe Rava would be ma'ida that. Therefore, you would be chayiv achatas. You didn't have in mind to throw it 4. But if you had in mind that it was a Reshus HaYachid, and you find that it's Reshus HaRabim, the mechamen l'zrika da'arba, that there you did have kavanah to throw it 4, you just didn't know that it was a Reshus HaRabim. You thought it was a Reshus HaYachid. Ema ma'ida le'lavaya. Then you'd be ma'ida le'lavaya. So tzricha you need it. Akiva, this one I don't understand.
Why don't you just send the last one?
What?
Just do the last one.
No, well, so usually the Gemara very good. So usually the Gemara goes back the other way and says, okay, so say the last one and not the first 2. For some reason, the Gemara doesn't do this. Right? Akiva's there?
I'm here.
No, I'm saying this last one, I don't understand why it's not a shoygig. I'm on your side with this one because that was what you were asking last night. I mean, you guys, wouldn't it be in a case of you're a shoygig? You thought that you're throwing it into Reshus HaYachid, and it ended up being it was Reshus HaRabim. So you're a shoygig. Right? You did it by mistake.
The kasha was why on abaya. Why is it not? Why
Right, my kasha was on abaya.
No,
that is true, but I mean, at the end of the day, kavanah plays such an integral role in any malacha. Rava is going to still hold. There is 0 kavanah here. It's not a maisa malacha.
I guess that's what you have to say. But
kavanah.
this one I didn't understand. But this one sounds like a classic shoygig to me. But yet, Rava's, you're right. Rava's still
For
saying it's
Haitzah
still
itself,
Misasa.
Haitzah is a very much totally in the Kavanah also.
Right, so Rava is a
Right.
shogeg. That's why Rava's, 1 second. So that's why.
No, Rava's not a Shaygig. Rava holds his Misasa.
No, that's why we
Oh,
would
no.
have thought Rava would be Maida. We're saying no, even in that case, Rava's not Maida. Which I guess the truth is that's the Gemara's next kasha, which we're having for the third time. We're going to have the exact same Gemara for the third time now. Tanan, let's see. Tanan, Avos Melachos Abayim Chasarachas. So Avos Melachos is 40 minus 1, right? That's actually coming up in the Mishnah finally. Ba'avinamba, and they discuss minyan alamali. Why do you need a number? That if you did all of them in one forgetting, you're chayiv on each and every one. So if you forgot all 39 melachos, you chayiv 39 karbanos. So bishlam al abaya damar ki agavna chayiv. So according to Abaya, who says that you would be chayiv in any of the above 3 cases, mishachas the yada the assur Shabbos, he knew that Shabbos was assur, but yadala isser melachos, and he knew that the melachos were assur. So he's a very educated fellow. He knew it was Shabbos. He knew all 39 melachos, which I wish all of us knew all 39 melachos, right? And all he made a mistake was that he didn't know the measurements, right? Because each one of the melachos, as we're going to start seeing from the next Mishnah, each malacha, until you do it with the right measurement, it's meaningless, right? So he didn't know the shiurin. So Abaya holds, okay, that makes you into a shaygig. So that would be the case. But Rava, who says that if you didn't know the shiurim, you're still going to be potter because you had no intention to do an assur, right? That's why if you threw it 2 and it went 4, right, you're potter according to Rava. How are you going to find the case of on Mazid on Shabbos and you're shaygig on melachos? So then hanichus avalakar Rabbi Damar kivin sheshagig with kares. Right? If you go with Rabbi Yochanan, who says that as long as you're a shaygig in the chorus part, meaning you didn't know that somebody would be chayiv chorus for doing something like this, even though you knew exactly that this thing is wrong on Shabbos, you just didn't know you're chayiv chorus. So Rabbi Yochanan holds that's a shaygig. So then we're going to find the case where you could be over on 39, was where you know it's Shabbos, you know you're doing something wrong from all 39 melachos, but you did not know that you're being chayiv chorus. So therefore, you're a shaygig. That's Rabbi Yochanan. Eli so look Rabbi Shimon Lakish, but if you hold like Rish Lakish, Damar Acha Yishkig belav the chorus until you're a shaygig with the lav and the chorus. The other little Shabbos, right? The other. I'm sorry. Acha belav chorus. The other little Shabbos b'mai. How is he going to know anything about Shabbos? Right? He has to not know of all 39. So what answers, like we said twice before, the other lebetchumen v'liv the Rebbe Kiva. The only thing he knew about Shabbos was that you're not allowed to go out of the tchum, and it's going according to Rebbe Kiva.
Why didn't the Gemara answer this before? This is what I asked before. Why didn't the Gemara give the teretz of shiurim before? Forget about tchum. It seems like the shiurim is a better teretz.
Right.
The Gemara in Daf Ayin Beis and Beis. Why didn't the Gemara just give that or Ayin Aleph and Beis? Which one was it? Yeah, why didn't the Gemara say that before? It seems like that's what I was asking before about he didn't know all the different pratistic dinim when it comes to. Why can't the Gemara Stam give that he doesn't know the pratistic dinim?
No, because he didn't know. You have to find something that he didn't know the 39 melachos, right? But he had to know something that was also on Shabbos, and he didn't have any of that, right? That's what it is. You have to know in order to get that specific case of 39 melachos, right? Correct.
So again, why before didn't the Gemara give that as a teretz?
I think the Gemara just didn't ask it.
No, but why didn't the Gemara say even according to
Which case?
Lakish, in the case where the Gemara said, but according to Resh Lakish, the Gemara could have said l'shiurim.
Right.
I think it was
Lakish could have said. I don't know. I'm not sure. I mean, you should have said this before. Okay, I hear. Okay, ready, weiter. Okay, now we start with the. Finally, we start with the halachas of Shabbos. Avos melachos abarim chaser achas. It would be nice if we could memorize this Mishnah. If there's ever a Mishnah to memorize in Shas, this is the one. Okay, because it's a lametes melachos. Avos melachos abarim chaser achas. The avos melachos are 40 minus 1, which makes 39. Correct? Now it's split up in the poskim. It's split up into 4 sections. The first one is called Sidura de Pas, how you would go around making bread, which is Hazereya. You first have to plant, Ba'acharish, and then plow, which L'chayr is the opposite, which we'll see in the Gemara, right? Because first you plow, then you plant. You don't plant and then plow. Okay, so Zereya is planting, Chayrish is plowing, Kaitzer is cutting it, V'Ama'amar is piling it up, V'Hadosh, and Dosh is banging it out to separate the bad from the good, V'Hazoira is throwing it up into the air to separate further the next step of the bad from the good, Haboirer, which is another step of separating, which we're going to see in the Gemara. Those 3 are seemingly the exact same thing, right? Well, not exact, but close enough. Hatoichin, then you have to grind the wheat. V'Amaraki, then you have to sift it. V'Alosh, then you have to knead it. K-N, not with N-E-E-D. V'Ha'oife, and then you have to bake it. That is called Sidura de Pas. Those are all the steps to get you to bake a loaf of bread. What is it? 11, right? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, 11 steps. 11 out of the 39 have to do with baking bread from beginning to end, soup to nuts. Then you start with clothing. First you have to shear it, right? Meaning cut it off. Hamalavnoi, then you got to whiten it, clean it up. Vavanaftsai, and then you got to comb it. Vatsoiva, then you dye it. Vatoiva, then you spin it. Vamesach, mesach is also one of the processes of spinning. Then Isa Shtei Batenirin, when you put it into the what's the name of it? That thing that you weave it with. Whatever, you got to stick it into 2.
Loom.
You do 2 of those, the loom, yes, thank you. And then if you sew 2 stitches, and if you break open 2 stitches, if you tie, and you untie. And then if you sew up 2 stitches. And then if you rip something on the condition to meaning stam ripping, we're going to see, that's destruction. So it'd have to be destruction in order to do something positive. Then, fine, that's section number 2. Hatzad tzvi, then to capture, right? You have to, if you trap a deer, hashoichta, if you shecht it, mafshita is to cut off the skin. Hamolchai, you salt it, v'ama'avid es oiroi, and you work its leather to get it to become normal. V'amamachkoi, and then you smooth it, and then you cut it up. That's section number 3 of the Lamites Malach. Section number 4.
Is it dafka?
No, it's going to be lav dafka. It's going to be lav dafka. It's a good question, right? We'll see in the Gemara what's the story with Tzvi. But yeah. And then the last section is a kaislev shtei oisiyos. You write 2 letters. You have to do erasing in order to write in its place 2 oisiyos, meaning stam erasing is destruction. Right, so it have to be you have to erase in order to write 2. Habayna, to build, va'asaiser, and to do destruction, in order to do construction in its place. Hamachave, somebody who extinguishes, va'mavir, and then if you light a fire, hamakeh patish, and that's the famous one, hamakeh patish, is you hit it with a hammer, your final blow, right, that creates something. Hamaitzi, Reshus, and then you have, if you carry from one property, Reshus hayachid to Reshus haram. There are your 40, the minus 1. There are your 39 melachos. Okay, it's an important Mishna. It's an important Mishna to know. Okay, so now let the Gemara go through. Minyana lamalizak the Gemara anam beis. Why do you need accounting for? Right, I hope the Olam knows the answer to this. It's coming to tell you that if you did all 39 melachos in one forgetting, then you're going to be chayav on each and every one. Fine. So we said that you plant and then you plow. It should be the opposite, right? Michta, let's see. Michrav karbi bereisha. First, you got to soften up the ground. Listening chayrish v'hada, listening zareya. So why don't you say plowing and then say planting? So Tana of Eretz Yisrael, the Tana is talking about in Eretz Yisrael, the Zari Bereisha v'Hadar Karvi, because in Eretz Yisrael, they plant and then they soften it up. Okay, I don't understand why they had the necessity to go to Eretz Yisrael, to call it Eretz Yisrael. I mean, the Rashi says the land is very hard over there, but really plowing comes before planting. Okay, fine. Tana. Then we learned Hazereya. This is an interesting halacha. Just to we'll discuss in a second, but just if you notice here how you have to keep cheshbon of how many melachos. The reason why people ask me, like, what's the hardest sugi to learn the halacha is nida, because the nida has a bad rep that it's the most difficult thing to learn, right? I personally find that Shabbos is much more difficult because you have to keep all 39 melachos in your head. Meaning, somebody could ask you a shayla, is this and this mutter? So you're thinking, oh, he must mean out planting. Okay, so you think, okay, so that's not planting. It's fine, good, but you might be over on another one. You might be over on one of the other lamites, which you didn't have in your mind whatsoever. Nida and other and many impossible chelev taruvas, that all these times. Well, impossible chelev taruvas has it also, but when you ask a specific question about davening, that's the only thing you have to keep in your mind. You know what I mean? What's the story? Can you not? Right? That's all you have to have. But in Shabbos, you have to keep all these things in your head and try and calculate everything, which is not so easy, at least for me. Anyways, so Tana. Hazereya, so you plow. V'hazomer, zomer is pruning. V'aneteya, and neteya is planting. V'amavrich, and amarkiv are similar. They're what's the word for it? You take two different types.
Grafting.
Grafting, crossbreeding. Right, thank you. Grafting, crossbreeding. Kulan melacha achasein. They're all considered one melacha, right? They're not each, right? It only goes under zereya. My kamashul. What is it coming to teach us? If you do many melachos that are just similar to one melacha, you're only chayiv in one. Now, all of these go under the category of planting, right? Now, so let's see what's a pshat in that. So let's say Amar Rav Acha, Amar Rav Chia bar Ashi, Amar Rav Ami, Zaymer chayiv mishum noiteya, right? Zaymer is basically, what do you do? In order to get trees to grow, took me a while to understand this, I'm saying not now, but just to understand the mitzvos of it, is basically, you have a tree and you want the tree to grow, so you got to cut the tree in order to get it to grow, right? It's addition by subtraction. You ask me with my yeshiva brain, I say, that's the most ridiculous thing to do in the world, right? Right? So you're going to cut something in order to get it to grow, right? But Baruch Hashem, there's a big world out there. What?
We do it with our hair.
We do it with our hair, correct, right. So you can do pruning. So you're pruning, so you're cutting off a branch, right? You could be chayiv two things for that, not one. So you would think pruning, okay, so that's kaitzer, right? That's cutting something off, right? But the Gemara says, no, that's planting, because you're doing two things. You're cutting something alive, and you're also planting, because you're making this thing grow more, right? This is like a classic example of things that you have to keep in mind with the lamites melachos. Because if you ask me straight up, I would say, okay, a guy cut off a branch. Okay, so he's a chayav, and it's kaitzer. It's one of the lamites melachos. No, it's not. It's kaitzer, and it's zareya, and it's planting, because you're making something grow better because of it, right? So that's what Rav Ami is saying. Zomer chayav mishum neiteya. Zomer is going to be chayav.
Do you have to have in mind for the planting part? Or if you just want to cut it off?
You had in mind. That's why you're cutting it.
No, but if you're cutting it just to get rid of it.
No, then you wouldn't be. Then it wouldn't be. Then it would be, no, you would not be chayiv. It would be also to do it, but it's not. You're not going to be chayiv. V'aneiteya, and one who plants, right? V'hamavrich v'hamarkich chayiv mishum zereya. They're chayiv because of planting. So Gemara says mishum zereya and mishum neiteya loy. You only chayiv zereya, not neiteya. So ema af mishum zereya. So no, you're going to be chayiv for both. So if you go crossbreeding and all that type of stuff, so basically what you're doing is you're cutting off one piece, tying it to another piece. So you think it's only neiteya, right? Right? I'm sorry, I said neiteya. I typed neiteya before as planting. It's not neiteya, that's cutting. Then the Gemara says it's cutting and planting, right? So that's what you could be chayiv for too. Amar Rav Kana, Zaymer v'tzarich le'etzim chayiv shtayim. If you're pruning, right? This Naftali, this is what you were asking. If you prune, and it's the opposite of what you're asking, but it's the same case. You're pruning, so we're saying pruning is because you want the tree to grow, right? So you don't need the wood, right? That would be the classic Zaymer. What happens if you're doing Zaymer, you're pruning your tree, and you also need it for firewood? See, you see the firewood, Rabbi Shua. You see, you mamish mechaber, right? So you zaymer v'tzarich la'etzim. If you're doing zaymer, you're pruning, but you also need the wood. Chayev shtayim. You're going to be chayev two. Achas mishum koitzer. One because of cutting, v'achas mishum neteya, and also because you're planting. Right? Fine. So Amar Rav Yosef, Hayman the kotel asafsefa chayev shtayim. This guy who cuts an asafsefa, right, with some sort of grass, right? And Rashi says you cut it 3 times a month, and then it grows. But in order to get it to grow, you cut it 3 times a month. Yeah. So Hayman the kotel asafsefa chayev shtayim achas mishum koitzer v'achas mishum neteya. One because of cutting, and one because of planting. Yeah. Yeah, fine. Amar abaya, Hayman the konev silka, chayev shtayim. A guy that cuts up the silka is, how do you say it? Beets, right? And we said we had a bunch of times.
Just the wheat. Is that the way it was in the base in the Mishkan?
What, wheat?
No, when they cut it, aspasta. Was the aspasta in the Mishkan?
No, aspasta wasn't in the Mishkan, but things that grew from the ground were in the Mishkan.
So then the kites was the only thing.
What? No, it doesn't have to be exact. It doesn't have to be exact case of the Mishkan. It just has to be similar to what they did. So they actually cut. They actually cut things that were alive from the ground. Right. So,
similar.
Yeah, similar.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. You're asking a good question, because sometimes the Gemara says, "Yeah, but that's not exactly the way it was in the Mishkan," right?
Right. I'm saying the Gemara later on says that.
Right. So I wish I had a gather when the Gemara decides that it has to be exactly like the Mishkan. And we Yeshver, we have this all the time. We've been learning Shabbos for like 7, 8 years, 9 years. We have no idea. We have no idea when when the Gemara requires it to be exactly the way it was in the Mishkan, or when it just has to be like some vague similarity to what went on in the Mishkan. Here, clearly, it's just some similarity.
The others have to be exactly how they did in the Mishkan.
What?
This isn't an Av Malacha.
So that's the Pashut understanding, is that the Av is got to be exactly, and then the what do you call it? But there's no nafkamina. There's no nafkamina.
No.
So Yaakov,
here.
What's an nafkamina? You can be chayiv
Here
carbon on
it's
both.
anyway.
I'm saying you chayiv a carbon on both, right? So
Nafkamina is Behel Echad.
Well, Helam Echad is if you do both of them.
Both of them.
Depending on which melachos you do, if they're made.
No, because that doesn't make a difference if it's Av or a Tolda. If it's Av or a Tolda, you're still going to do both.
The Av and its Tolda, you chayiv one, except according to Rabbi Eliezer, you chayiv two.
No, but and let's say they're both Toldas, you're also going to be chayiv one.
But if the two toldas under the same Av, you're only going to be chayiv one.
Correct, but that's for sure all under the Av of Koitzer. It's all under the Av of Koitzer. That's not
right.
That's
not
a shayla.
That's an nafkamina. That's all.
So, but that's not an nafkamina.
It's not a nafkamina lahalacha, but it's a nafkamina in the time to the Beis Hamikdash. How many karbanos are you going to bring?
No, it's not.
Why not?
It's because even let's say they were both considered avos, so you're still only bringing one carbon.
Not if they're two different avos.
No, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about within the same Av.
Right, but let's say it's two different toldas.
Good, but that's not what we're asking.
The same
What he's Reb Zev is asking, if wasn't exactly the way it happened in the Mishkan. So let's say I cut an asafsefa, and then I cut one of the things in the Mishkan that it was for for the incense. What do they call it? What they cut it for in the whatever they cut in the Mishkan for the dye, right? They cut it to make the dye. So they're both right. So they're both told us, and you're gonna be only chayiv one.
Right,
so I just don't know when sometimes it calls it Av, not Av. I don't know. Okay, whatever it is.
Also, isn't it a double shade of Miskaman? When you're cutting, and it's
your kavanah is to cut it down.
Why you chayiv two?
What?
You chayiv kaitzer because you cut it, and then you chayiv meiter because.
That's only if you're pruning. If you're pruning, yes. Yeah, if you're cutting it, meaning basically the nafkamina is if you're cutting the grass in your yard because you want it to grow better, then you're going to be chayiv for two. You're going to be chayiv for cutting and planting. But if you're just cutting your grass.
When you cut al aspasta, you chayiv shtayim. Why?
Because the only way to get your aspasta to grow is to cut it 3 times a month. So you're chayiv for planting, and you're chayiv for reaping, as what they call, right? Reaping, kaitzer, reaping, cutting, whatever it is.
Cutting, yeah.
Right, but if
Do
you
they
start,
use
let's
what's
say,
cut?
It says reaping. Yes, reaping.
Apparently, they have to use what's cut. Otherwise, you're not going to be
Yeah.
hired for kitzer.
So Yaakov,
That was
why
so
wouldn't you
kosher.
be chayiv if according to a person on the Man Yammer it says davar shenim skaven or melachos?
and
If you hold the
davar,
so Gemara is only going the Gemara that says tzarich it's the Gemara does say a lashon of it's tzarich le'etzim even if it's
correct,
not tzarich
right?
le'etzim.
That's
So the Gemara is only going according to Man Yammer davar shenim skaven is pater. The Gemara says bit tzarich le'etzim.
right.
Back in the Gemara before. If it wasn't
Right.
tzarich le'etzim, you wouldn't be chayiv according to Man Yammer it says davar shenim skaven pater.
Yes, I mean that's the way we paskin. That is the way we paskin.
It's just funny the Gemara decided to pick that. I'm saying,
I mean, we don't
that's
paskin.
weeding into machlokes.
I guess maybe not because it's a psik ratio.
It's a psik ratio also.
Yeah, but
so
it's
why does
different
that
here
sound-
because here you're already being over on an assur. It's different. The whole davar shein maschaven is when there's the only assur you're being over.
So then why does that
the
make tzarich
But
le'etzim?
there's
It's
also-
not tzarich le'etzim.
Also,
No,
You're
but
doing
that's-
this anyway.
that's your
That
intent.
strengthens my argument. Why do you have to
No.
say tzarich le'etzim? Even if
But
it's not tzarich
otherwise,
le'etzim.
it's a melachos shein it's legufa.
So what?
That
There's
too.
one ever holds that's assur also.
That's what I'm saying. You have
Okay, let me
Why
finish
do
the
you
daf.
think
I gotta
Pasha?
finish. Let's finish the daf. But this is you're talking about the yesodus of Gemara Shabbos that can mamish every davar shein maschaven is a melachos shein it's legufa. You can go around. We already had it once a bunch of
We'll
blocks
make
ago.
you a million 11 o'clock miles tonight.
11 o'clock. If we could sit and talk about this till 11, if it was Shavuos night, we could talk about this the whole night.
Maybe
Anyways.
we should do this Shavuos night.
Maybe Taka.
So you punted tonight.
I was gonna say, at this rate, it's a melachos shein it's legufa.
So Yaakov, Taisus Bavarn's the kasha. He says even according to Malachos and tzarich le'etzim, you have to have
Which
beginning
toast?
tzarich le'etzim.
The
Tzarich le'etzim. So I
Zaymer?
don't want to get involved in it.
Zaymer? All right, I'm sorry. And I was looking at the Taisus and I said, I'm looking for it. I couldn't find it. I was looking at the wrong I was looking at the Taisus on top of that. Okay. Yeah, good. Right? Yeah, very good, Akiva. Anyway, so Amar Abaya, I'm on the cut of silka chayev shtayim. This guy that cut of silka is chayev two. Achas Hashem kaitzer, achas Hashem zereya. Again, the same thing because of kaitzer and zereya. That's another kasha. How come it's calling it here zereya? And but a minute ago called it naitea, even though the what do you call it? The Bach changes it. But if you don't go with the Bach's changing, I mean that's why the Bach changes it. But if it's not from the Bach, then why did it change? Okay,
That would be any vegetable or any fruit that you cut, right?
Yes.
I
No.
thought generally Zerei.
Only if you want it to grow. Only if you want it to grow.
No, automatically. The other ones grow, more grow. That's what happens.
No, but let's say it's the end of the season. Let's say it's the last apple of this. Let's say an apple. Fruit doesn't grow back, right? Vegetables grow back. So right. So if, let's say, so you're right. With vegetables, you'd be right. But fruit, right? So I guess fruit, you cut it and you're done, right? Unless maybe it improves it for next year. You got to ask, what do you call it? What do you call those guys? Horticulturist? No, that's not. That's a farmer.
Horticulturist.
You got to ask a farmer, that's all. You got to ask a farmer. Yeah. Okay, achayrish, one who plants. Tana achayrish v'achayver v'achayritz kulam melachos achasin. Plowing, digging, and somebody who's dragging something in the ground, they're all melachos achas, meaning they're all part of plowing. And if you did all three, you'd only be chayiv for one, because that only goes under one umbrella. Amar Rav Sheshes, hasalek avshushis for not the bias. Let's say you had a clump of dirt, right? So back then, their floors were made out of dirt. So let's say you had a clump of dirt, benatla, and you took it and you crushed it. So benatla b'bayis chayiv mishum boina, besada chayiv mishum chayrish. If it's in a house, this is another interesting thing. You're doing the exact same thing. You took a clump of dirt in your house and you smashed it. So if you did it in a house, you're chayiv because of boina, because you just built your house. You made your house a little bit better. If you did it in the field, chayiv mishum chayrish. You did it because you're plowing, right? Omar Rava.
Why is it plowing? Is this raising the outsides of something so it makes an indentation?
No, I say,
That's
so
why
I
it's
said a
Irish?
clump, yeah, but this clump of dirt is in the ground. I made it sound like it's in your hand. It's on the ground.
It sounds like putting it in the field makes you chayiv mishum chayrish, not taking it out.
If you're in the field and you decide to step on this little pile of dirt in order to smooth it out, so now that's plowing.
Wait, smoothing isn't plowing.
No, it is. In this case, it's a form of plowing. I don't think it could be smoothing because it's not. It's just dirt. But I'm just saying, you see a clump of dirt on the ground in the field, you step on it, right? So that's considered.
Rashi says you're loosening the earth.
Right, so that's considered plowing. In the house, it's considered baina, which is one of the lamates melachos. In the field, it's considered plowing, right? Fine. Amar Rava, guma the tamama. If you had a hole and you filled it up, so then abaya is chayav mishum baina. In the house, you chayav because of baina. Besada mishum chayrish. In the sada is because of plowing. Amar Rava Abba, hachayv for guma b'Shabbos ve'ena tzarich ela la'afra. This is this next line right here. I wish we had a whole night for this because this is the most important yesod in Hilchas Shabbos that we could possibly learn. Maybe tomorrow we should even don't talk as much and be able to go back to this. So Amar Rav Abba,
We'll start at 9 tomorrow.
What?
9.
9. Yeah, man, we should maybe start at 9 from now on till we get rolling. Okay, so Peretz is not there.
Yaakov, but then you're going straight. You have a share. The other share 8:15.
It's okay. That's fine.
Okay.
That's fine by me. Amar Rav Abba, hachayfer guma b'Shabbos ve'ena tzarich ela la'afra. If you dig a hole on Shabbos, now you think, okay, you dig a hole, you're chayav for plowing, right? But the reason why you dug the hole is not because you want the hole. Normally when you plow, you're plowing because you want to put seeds in it. That's the function of plowing. So that's your chayav. But here you didn't dig a hole because you wanted a hole. You dug a hole because you needed dirt. The only way to get dirt is to make a hole, right? 1 + 1 = 2. But really, if you can get this dirt without digging a hole, you would gladly do that, especially the lazy ones amongst us, right? But anyways, you're stuck digging a hole in order to get dirt. That's called melacha she'ena tzricha legufa, meaning you're doing the melacha, but you're not doing the melacha for the reason that it was done in the Mishkan. Okay? Again, hachayfer guma b'Shabbos. You dig a hole on Shabbos. Ve'ena tzarich ela la'afra. The only reason why you need that hole is because you need the dirt. Potter aleh. You are potter. It's assur, but you're potter because you did not do it for the way it was meant to be done in the Mishkan, even though you're digging a hole. But since it's all totally in your intention, and your intention was not to dig a hole, your intention was to take the dirt from the hole. That's not considered digging on a biblical level, on a deraisa level. So the Chacham said it's potter anyways, but it's a machlokes, but it's a potter. Rabbi Yehuda doesn't hold it this whole rule, and he holds if you do a malacha, even if you're not doing it for the way it was in the Mishkan, you're still chayiv aleh. That's only when you fix something. But hay makagel here, this is destruction. So therefore, according to all opinions, you would be potter, which is the way we paskin. Okay, so if you dig a hole and you only need the dirt, it's not an assur deraisa, it's only an assur derabbanan. The most classic example, and I guess we'll stop here, but the most classic example of this is extinguishing. Okay, when you put something out, why did they extinguish in the Mishkan? Where was their extinguishing in the Mishkan? Not because they wanted the candle.
They wanted the ash or something.
They need the candle. Like when you light candles on Friday night, so many people still have that minig, even though there's no reason to keep the minig bisman hazeh. But in the old days, if you lit a wick first and then you put it out, the wick lit a lot better. So when you're putting out, if you're doing that, that's why they did extinguishing in the Mishkan. So if you put out a wick because you
isn't that part of Harago Maner?
No, 1 second. No, but nowadays you just set up the candles because our candles light right away very easily. But 1 second. Again, if you put out, in the Mishkan, they put out the wicks in the menorah so that it lights better. Just using an example, right? So when you're putting out a wick now, because on Shabbos, because you're too cheap to burn any more oil, so you want to save oil, you're not doing anything, you're not doing the extinguishing that they did in the Mishkan, right? In Mishkan, they put out the extinguishing so that they can get themselves a wick that was singed, right? That's why they put it out. To put it out to save money is midaraisa, not an issue because it's a malacha she'ena tzricha legufa. And the biggest misunderstanding is that somebody asks a shaila to a rabbi if they could shut the light off in a bedroom because the kids can't sleep, and the rabbi says it's okay because shutting off a light is the derabbanan. And he asked a guy, can you get a guy to shut off the light? So the rabbi says it's okay because it's 2 derabbanans. One is extinguishing because you're not extinguishing because you want to have filament. You're extinguishing because you don't want the fire on. And then asking a guy is a derabbanan, so it's 2 derabbanans and a big need or a child's need, it's allowed. So then people think, okay, so if I can ask a guy to shut off a light, I could ask a guy to turn on a light. No, it's absolutely not true. Because to turn on a light is a deraisa. Because why they light fire in the Mishkan? In order to have light. So when you turn on your light bulb, that's also in order to have light. So that's a deraisa. You can't ask a guy to do it. Meaning you have to know, basically the aside is that everything is based on what your intention was. Okay? If your intention wasn't to do it the way they did it in the Mishkan, then therefore it's going to be a derabanan according to Reb Shimon. Reb Yehuda holds Yechayev. Here we're saying Reb Yehuda would be potter anyways. Okay, tomorrow night we're starting at 9 parrots. Yes, 9?
No.
Why not?
Yes, yes.
No, we're not. We're not going to start. We won't get up starting till whatever, but we're going to get the ball rolling at 9. That's all.
Yeah, but my opinion is at
9 o'clock.
9:05, and I'm relying on the fact that you guys schmooze until 9:25.
Okay, well,
One second, bro. You got 25 minutes.
we're not getting enough done. We're not getting enough done.
Earlier is
take a
better for
vote.
me.
Let's take a vote.
Marv, we're rushing.
I gotta go down Meyer for better or for worse.
But Yaakov, I had a shiloh.
The Oilam should put in the vote. Yes.
I left tablecloths in my car.
9 o'clock. I'm gay for
I
9
left
o'clock.
tablecloths in my car for a kiddush.
Yeah.
So the shiloh was if the cleaning lady can go get the tablecloths out of the car Shabbos day.
Okay, that's okay.
So what's the shiloh? The shiloh is the lights. You don't care about the lights. You don't need the lights that turn on.
Right. Well, besides for that, it's a psik reisha. Psik reisha milach is mutter.
Right. So I was going to say, between all of that.
Yeah, I'm asking. All right. A good night, everybody.
Where's the tzarech gadol?
That's a different question.
The tzarech gadol over there was that my wife was making a kiddush, and they have to be very, very fancy. Otherwise, you have to cancel the kiddush.
So then maybe you should have taken it out before Shabbos.
We forgot.
That was the tzarech gadol. Sorrel needed a place to sleep.
No, I was sleeping on the couch already. The tablecloth was actually my blanket.
Very good.
Lila Tov, everybody.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Be well.